Hi, today I'm going to start a series for you female leaders. I'm going to show you what an anxious attachment style combined with neuroticism on the big 5 personality traits are, so that as a female leader you can achieve power and finally experience emotional well-being with success when you see the detriment that this plays on your leadership abilities. So as a female leader, you probably felt self-doubt, insecurity, and perhaps even a lack of support. You want to know how to become secure. Well, today, I'm bringing it home. I'm Tracy Crossley, and I am an author, podcast host, and coach mentor to women leaders who are ready to change from the inside out so that they can experience unlimited, secure leadership. Okay, welcome to my YouTube channel where female leaders like you get valuable information, insight every week, so please subscribe. Okay, our topic today is how anxious attachment shows up in a leadership style and its relationship to neuroticism on the Big 5 scale, which is the Big 5/Ocean traits. And it's important because anything you can do to become unlimited as a leader matters. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so anxious attachment style. Anxiously attached leaders are seriously impacted about basically how other people perceive them. How other people perceive you, if that's you, is a big part of how you operate. Are other people going to be pleased? Are other people going to like you? Are other people going to respect you? It's always about other people. So it can ruin your day. This is one of the characteristics. It can ruin your day or your life. It can feel like it's ruining your life if someone thinks ill of you. It can become your entire focus, okay? That, my friend, is absolutely something we want to move away from, right? Okay. Another characteristic is you spend an inordinate amount of time, did I say that right? Inordinate, yes. Amount of time trying to please other people, trying to fix what you cannot control, because your entire value, again, rests on other people. So it doesn't really work when you're trying to fix something you can't control, right? But your entire value rests on them. There is need to appear to be emotionally available, both personally and professionally. And I hate to break it to you, but emotional intimacy or emotional availability is not just because you can have emotions. It's something where you allow yourself to be fully seen, where imposter syndrome is not part of the game plan here, okay? So when you are this anxious attachment style, another thing is you're driven to stick to rules so other people admire you. Yeah, married or in a dysfunctional relationship, because this extends to your personal life, you may find you wear yourself out trying to be everything to everybody so no one leaves you and you don't feel cast out. Imagine it's like hanging off a cliff, wanting someone to rescue you, yet not trusting anybody to do so, and where you have that feeling that nothing is safe, constantly searching for a cause to cling to, and so that you can bury yourself in, right? Whether it's a personal project, volunteer project, it's a work project, something where you can just sink right into and kind of disappear into it. Okay, so what about neuroticism? Because that is one of the traits from Ocean. Yes, it is. And which is, again, the Big 5 personality trait. So this correlates to anxious attachment style. I'm writing a book on all of this right now, The Secure Female Leader. And let me tell you that all of this is important because your well-being is what matters if women are ever going to rule this world. Yeah, okay. So neuroticism. Can't handle stress in productive ways, usually need external validation or distraction, numbness, whatever it is, so you don't have to deal with stress. You just try to get rid of the stress in ways, but you basically overthink things, and so that's where a lot of the stress just keeps circulating over and over again. You worry about many different things, again, beyond your control, so you can see the correlation between anxious attachment and neuroticism, right? You can be triggered from being okay to angry in seconds, basically based on what's happening around you. The same thing with your mood. You can have dramatic shifts depending on what's happening around you once again, or what stories you might be telling yourself in your head. You might be sitting there thinking about something that happened yesterday and getting angry about it. What is another thing? Feeling anxious, yes. and finding it difficult to bounce back after events or a crisis that create stress. Yes, the attachment style and this trait can leave a leader feeling empty, in need of constant validation, and knowing that, hey, you might be innovative inside, but needing a chorus of people to encourage you to trust your own vision. How we got here? Well, these traits, yes, you may have some, not all for sure. And with being aware, you can at least know these are conditioned traits. Yes. So you weren't born anxious or neurotic, and that means you can be deconditioned. This all had to do with how you perceived events happening around you and to you as a child. And therefore, you can absolutely break that conditioning because you want to become unlimited, powerful, and influential while feeling safe. If you are in this category of leadership style, then you don't feel safe. None of the leadership styles, by the way, that are insecurely attached are associated with feeling safe. They're just played out differently depending on your style. So you look for that safety and approval in feeling others support you and in working hard on something you are passionate about. What's at stake? Well, if you don't want to resolve your attachment style and its correlation to ocean, you are looking at always having the mountain to climb that makes it stress level, high, crazy all the time. So you will be a leader that many feel they must rescue rather than respect. And the relationships you have with others might also feel very lopsided. It will affect your ability to take risks and build your business to the heights that are possible. And you're always going to feel a sense of scarcity, as though there are not enough resources and that others may not be trustworthy enough for you, although oddly enough, you tend to put your trust in people who aren't trustworthy, because anybody who breathes a compliment in your direction or tells you how joining your team would be their lifelong dream, that kind of excitement, it validates you and it gives you that thought that maybe this is the missing element. Maybe this is what's going to make the business amazing. We're going to bring in revenue we've never brought in. We're going to be profitable, whatever it happens to be. But it also gives you a feeling of safety in the future, or thought of safety in the future, but not really. It only lasts a minute. So, how we're going to move forward, because we're talking nothing you are doing is providing you safety, or I could also say security. So let's talk about becoming secure, safe as a leader, and as a human too. I have 3 tips. 3. I always start with the second best tip first, and then the third, and then of course the best tip. Okay. Second best tip, you hear how to feel your feelings, and yahoo for that, right? Because the second best tip is shift your focus. So shifting your focus. You are basically shifting from the external to the internal. You're more interested in what is happening inside of you when you are triggered or when you're not triggered. You need to learn what's happening inside of you. So I have an example. All these examples are my clients. So HR tells Barbara that her VP of sales is resigning, and Barbara is totally horrified. She just went to lunch with him and now he's leaving. She's triggered in thinking she said or did the wrong thing at lunch. She starts overthinking every conversation that she had with him, and her mood totally drops to a low one. And at the same time, she is pissed off. Oh yeah, that he did not say anything to her and wasn't, in her words, not my words, her words, man enough to say anything to her. So Barbara grows anxious about him leaving and having to replace him since he is the third VP in very few years. She has a little bit of a turnover issue. Without him, she believes sales will fail and starts imagining worst case scenarios all across the board. So if she were to stop and take a deep breath, okay, not that that solves the problems, but it's a game changer, right? It just brings you to the present moment. So she would see how she's feeling, she would see she is personalizing someone else's decision and catastrophizing the impact. She would be able to feel into the root of her conditioning the more proficient she became at doing this. Like the more often she did it, or does it, I should say she does it, the better she has become at feeling safe, at connecting to herself and making better decisions, because she feels safer. And so she's not so out here looking at, well, what's happening out here, and then reacting to it and making a decision. Instead, she is trusting herself, and by connecting and shifting her focus, she is actually responding rather than reacting. Okay, what is the third best tip? Crazy, right? Notice your insecurity and how you try to hide it. A lot of us don't even want to admit that to ourselves. I mean, just don't want to. Okay, my example is Sandy. She's another client of mine, just closed a deal for her firm. As one of the founders, it was her responsibility to still be involved in bringing in new business. She resented it because she didn't feel she should have to be involved in new business. She felt, yes, I definitely, because she was CRO of the business, she definitely felt that, when it came to what sales was doing, she definitely wanted to be giving high level sales information and running it at a high level with checking reports and checking direction, or actually creating direction, that kind of stuff, right? Except that wasn't happening. And she resented it, like I said, but at the same time, she also felt validated because the other founders believed she was capable of bringing in the bacon. So she never felt she was on equal footing with the other founders, and therefore would always look at how to prove herself, even though, again, here she is a CRO of the biz, right? She had trouble keeping people on her team. And when the other founders questioned her, she would get defensive. She was a very defensive person. In fact, that was one of the hardest things for us to work through. Sandy always felt anxious and about to be found out from her perspective. Yeah, she had imposter syndrome big time. I mean, most people do, but to the degree that it interferes with who you are and what you do, yeah. So she didn't know how to be herself and felt too risky, even though she was competent, but did not believe she was. Amazing how she could actually do something and not think that she was competent, right? But she had this inner critic, this inner dictator that was just spouting things off all the time. By the way, if you have an inner dictator that is spouting things off, you can go to my website and download my freebie on stopping your inner dictator. So Sandy learned through our work together how to own her insecurities. And by admitting to it and being honest about it, she was willing to do what she was not willing to in the past. And she was willing to say what didn't work for her. She also felt her feelings and realized she could not feel accomplishment. And that was a big one. Like, that just came out of working through insecurities, going, oh my God, when I accomplish something, I don't even feel it. Just anxiety and worrying about what she would need to do next kept her from feeling those accolades. Like, somebody would compliment her, my God, job well done. And all she could think of was, oh God, what am I going to do to keep this going? What is my next sale? What is my next this? Whatever it happened to do with, right? She was always then in the future trying to figure out what she was going to do. So don't hide it, share it honestly, and like Sandy did, and felt far less responsible for what others perceived about her. She stopped trying so hard and actually focused on developing a sales system that others could work and get rewarded inside of. And it worked out better because she hired a VP who actually was running the day-to-day business of sales, who was in charge of all of her business development people. Anyway, last tip. What's the last tip, Tracy? Well, the last tip is emotionally risky action. Say what? What's emotionally risky action? Well, here we go, another example. Emily was always quiet. She got her position as CMO because she worked hard and kept her head down. She never developed close relationships with anyone at work. She felt uncomfortable. She would just say, I'm just shy, right? That was her answer, I'm just shy. So she was going back to like when she was 15, okay? It's amazing how we'll do that, right? Well, I have this personality characteristic or flaw, depending on how you see it, and this is why. Anyway, regardless, her inability to connect meant people did not have the direction they needed on her management team. Oh no. To say relational dynamics was a mess is an understatement. Emily just wanted to put her head down. She was introverted, and yet when she spoke, she did not realize people did pay attention. And this is how little awareness she had of herself, and that was the problem. Like, she didn't see herself iterating with others, so she always felt outside of her body when she was speaking because she was so afraid of how, again, she was being perceived, right? So when we started working together to get over her doubt that she had that she could command attention and that her team of managers and subordinates would communicate in a proactive and productive way, she was highly doubtful that this could ever change. See, all of her self-doubt, yeah, extended here too. So she knew she had to do something as revenue was off. Her board of directors were looking for an answer because she wasn't meeting forecasted goals. So for Emily, emotionally risky action amounted to having awareness when she was communicating with other people about what she was saying. She would ground herself inside of her body, pay attention to her feelings, and take action on what she knew. To get there took a bit because she was so outside of herself, like I was saying, like she'd talk and it would be out here, and she wouldn't feel anything in here. But the more she paid attention and grounded, she could feel her emotions and know the risky action was to listen to her inner knowledge, the knowledge that is there, not your ego, that inner dictator that's going yap, 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 yap. That doesn't help anybody. That's a fear-based yapper, okay? When you're talking inner wisdom, inner knowledge, it is what you know, and it may feel risky to take that action, and it should. If it's emotionally risky and it lines up, so you got your feelings lining up with the action and the awareness, boom, simultaneously makes a change. So the more she paid attention, though, she could feel the emotions and know the risky action was to do what her inner knowledge or wisdom told her to. She knew that that nudge was always there, but she had ignored it. And let me tell you, things totally changed for her. I cannot believe how much her business changed for her. So tell me what you think, right? You've heard this, you're like, I might be some of this, not all of it, and that's okay. Even if you're some of it, you can take these tips and use them. And if you need help, you can always email business@tracycrossley.com. So let me know, though, in the comments, have you ever struggled with this? What have you struggled with? Share a situation. I would love to hear. And so, what does this mean for female leaders? Let me say that I have figured out this internal riddle, okay? And your limitations are all in your head. We all know this, okay? We've all been told that. Your conditioning is the issue. So when you move past the doubt and the insecurities, you're going to find your place. So what's your next step? Try these tips and report back to me what changed. And if you don't want to leave a comment here, again, you can always email business@tracycrossley.com and let me know. And what I also like you to do is check out my other videos on your power and influence as a female leader. Just click on the video, which there should be a video on the screen somewhere, okay? And go ahead and click on it now and get some more tips. I'm Tracy. It's been a pleasure.